next generation console war is on, but when will Microsoft announce the next Xbox? Well, this month in the bonus round, I'm here at GDC, and we're going to break down rumors of Microsoft's next system with Michael Pachter, Jeff Gertzman, and Andy McNamara, right now in the bonus round. Hey everybody, welcome to the bonus round from GDC here in San Francisco. And this month, we're talking about the platform that hasn't been announced yet. It is the next Xbox from Microsoft. What are they going to do? Well, to discuss it, we've got, of course, Michael Pachter.
There's a next Xbox?
I don't know. We're going to have to guess.
All right, we'll guess. Today. All right, we'll speculate.
But yes, there's rumors. We'll get to this, but you think it's actually going to win the next generation?
It's already won.
Well, hold that thought. We're getting to Andy Mack. The editor-in-chief of Game Informer magazine had the Thief, a next-generation game on your most recent cover.
That's correct.
Good to have you with us, Andy. And finally, Jeff Gertzman from Giant Bomb, redesigned site. The site is looking great, Jeff.
Thank you. I mean, we've got one of these Xboxes up the street in the office if you want to come see it. It's like it's kind of cool. I don't know.
Hey, well, we'll get
it's driving his site. That's what. That's
exactly.
what.
That's how we redesigned it.
Giant
how
Bomb
they do
runs
it.
on the
That's
new
why
Xbox.
it keeps crashing.
Yeah.
I like it. So let's get into this because Sony has announced the PlayStation 4. You know, the worst kept secret out there is that there is a new Xbox, you know, that is happening. Michael Pachter knows a lot about it. We all know a little bit about it. But what, you know, Sony announced first with the PlayStation 4 back in February. A lot of people thought at GDC Microsoft would announce a new Xbox. They clearly haven't. What does Microsoft have to do? Like, I mean, do they feel pressure now, do you think, in the wake of Sony's announcement of the PlayStation 4?
You know, I think that Sony did something smart by going early, capturing a lot of attention. I think they're able to. Today I got a Best Buy ad with a picture of the PS4.
Wow.
I don't think it necessarily is accurate, but you're going to keep the buzz up because people haven't seen the box yet. So they're going to keep the buzz up until Microsoft announces. I think that Microsoft honestly wanted to wait and see what Sony was doing and tweak. So I think that's part of why they delayed the announcement. I am very confident Microsoft is going to have a lot of multimedia functionality built into the box.
Right.
And I think that they're still working out those details. And I think they're going to use those new functions as selling points for the box. So I think that both of them were smart in how they did the timing. I think Microsoft gave a couple of months to Sony, but the buzz now doesn't matter. It's the buzz in November when they launch. So I think they'll level the playing field back again, and it really is going to come down to features, games, and price, and that's the unknown.
But instinctually, I'm sure it's tough for Microsoft to, you know, have Sony out there talking about their new system and gamers getting excited about it, and you know, the average consumer may not even know there is a new Xbox coming this year. Andy, do you think Microsoft feels threatened? I mean, some people would say since they're waiting, they're acting like, you know, we'll work on our own timetable, as Sony used to always say. It's like we'll decide when the next generation begins.
I mean, I don't think they have to feel any pressure. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that both systems, regardless of when they're announced, are coming out in the same time frame, right? You know, like when they actually hit the streets, you know, as Michael pointed out, that will be when the rubber hits the road. So I don't think announcing is the key concern. I think there's other concerns. I mean, like right now here at GDC, I mean, everyone's talking about PlayStation 4. You know what I mean? Like when you go and you see people talking about games, and they talk about independent games. We have game developers, you know, talking about the system, and I think enthusiastic about it. So I think there is that degree of loss that they have there, but it's something you can certainly make up. But I think PlayStation and Sony has used basically a strategy of like, we are going to talk about games. You know, like you kind of said, I agree with you. I think Microsoft is going to come in talking about multimedia, and I think PlayStation's going to go with games, and that's what they're going to stand by, and they're going to be like, you know, not that they're going to have multimedia, but that's going to be how they push this next, you know, their next PlayStation is with really trying to be the destination for games.
So Jeff, from a gamer's perspective, is there a worry that, you know, Microsoft may veer too much into the world of kind of, you know, multimedia and entertainment? And, you know, even on the first party side, you know, Sony has a lot more studios making a lot more games, I think, than Microsoft does, and historically that's been the case the past few years.
Yeah, I think that's been an increasing concern from just kind of out there online as people kind of churn through these rumors and try to figure out what's real and what's not, is the concept that Microsoft has kind of moved past the game machine thing and is more focused on all these multimedia apps and set-top box stuff, and, you know, we'll have a coax port on the back of it and all that sort of stuff. You know, whereas Sony had a very clear message, not only to players, but to developers, like, hey, we're the game machine. If you happen to be making or want to play games, this is the spot. which I think is a very easy message to understand. Whereas if Microsoft's like, oh, we have Netflix and MLB and all this other stuff,
Right.
and your cable company works with it and all this stuff, like a lot of that stuff that Sony could probably do also, relatively easily. So I don't know that that's necessarily.
It's expensive and it's hard to do. I mean, to build out all those entertainment partnerships and all those apps and things like that. But what's interesting to me is that you think of Kinect, that was announced, over a year before it came out. You think of, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, those were announced, very far in advance. And here we are at GDC with a platform that's potentially going to come out this fall, and it's still not announced. Why do you think, Michael, strategically, people are waiting longer to announce, their platforms are much closer to shipping? Is it that sort of Apple phenomenon of like you want to announce something and then ship it, a couple weeks later, which you can't really do in gaming because the games have to be announced.
I mean,
what's shifted?
Andy said something interesting, and I think this kind of proves this point, that Sony is trying to segment its announcements. So the first one was all about games and gamers,
right.
And it was, we are your friend, we, Sony, are going to give you a gaming experience. I think Microsoft's not doing that, and I think you're right. I think they're going to say we're the everything box, but I think that announcement gets a lot more media attention.
Right.
So I don't mean media, media, I mean broad media attention. And I think that, the Financial Times in Germany is going to be much more interested in the multimedia functionality than they are about games. And it's going to be a USA Today cover story. It's going to be a Wall Street Journal cover story. And I think Microsoft is playing for the free publicity that they get. Yeah. So I think that's the timing. And I think what's really interesting is E3, because we're going to get an announcement from Microsoft very likely in April. But E3 is a gaming show, but this is going to be the first E3 in 6 or 7 years that the mainstream media is going to attend.
Right.
The last time, CNBC broadcast from the floor in 2006, because they wanted to be there
back this year?
They haven't told me yet, but yes.
Special correspondent Michael Pachter?
They'll be there.
I wonder who'll be on that show.
No, but they'll be there, and that matters. I mean, if you get, that's mainstream, and you're going to get NBC.
I don't have CNBC as mainstream.
They're pretty mainstream. They're mainstream
in your world, exactly.
They're mainstream for people with money. I think you're going to get a lot of publicity. I think that what they're really going for is the headlines and splash.
Right.
They'll have all the game events leading up to the launch, and I think you're going to hear about the exclusive content, and it'll be good.
All right, guys, we'll hold that thought. We're going to be right back after this break.